If you love watercolour, you probably own a watercolour sketchbook and possibly you haven't had the courage to break it in yet for fear of spoiling it. They're very often expensive and the sketchbook tours we see on YouTube are full of gorgeous paintings and we feel we have to live up to them. I've been there too and I'm not completely out of that tunnel because I have a few very expensive watercolour sketchbooks and I'm still on page 2 or 3 of them after years. But I now know watercolour sketchbooks can be used in different ways and there are tricks to take the pressure off and actually get working in them and not leave them to gather dust on the shelf. I'm a professional watercolour artist and I've been painting with this lovely medium for years, so what you will see here is not the work of a beginner. There's a lot of practice behind it, and the reason I am saying that is because I don't want to be the next one to discourage you if you have just started recently or if maybe you haven't put as many hours into your work because you paint with other mediums too or just don't have the time. Anyone can reach this level and beyond. Of course, it really all boils down to practice. Now let's get talking. A few years ago, watercolour sketchbooks were quite hard to come across, to the extent that around 2017 the Australian-based company Etchr Lab, which I believe was formed by artists, used Kickstarter to develop watercolour sketchbooks and were very successful because of the high demand of this product. And Etchr was my first sketchbook. Not any sketchbook, but what was called and still is called the perfect sketchbook, which came in bundles of 3 at the time and cost a pretty penny. The only way to get cheaper sketchbooks with 100% cotton paper was to make them yourself, which I have done too. Wasn't very successful, but still I tried. As far as I could see, no one else sold them here in Europe, or it was just really hard to come across them. I was obsessed with sketchbook flip-throughs and I ended up starting the sketchbook and then abandoning it when the first few pages didn't look good enough or didn't live up to my expectations. I think I went back to them later to practice for some masterclasses I was going to teach, but overall I kind of considered it a failure. I moved away from sketchbooks for a while because a failed standalone painting could be tossed or it was just a one-off, but a failed painting in a watercolour sketchbook to me ruined the whole experience of the flip-through and I have never loved ripping pages out of books. I was also convinced that nothing but 300 GSM 100% cotton paper could work with watercolour because I'd seen how much my paintings had improved when I'd switched from cellulose paper to cotton. I was worried the paper would buckle or that the paint would seep through to the other side and ruin whatever painting was on the previous page. And then 2 things happened. Watercolour sketchbooks started to become more popular. It was easier to find them, especially online. Other brands like Baohong and more recently ARRTX and others as well, of course, started making them and they became more affordable, so felt less precious. And also, for reasons I cannot quite recall right now, I got over my fear of painting on thinner paper. So the Etchr Everyday Watercolour Sketchbooks, the one with the white canvas cover with 220 or 230 GSM paper according to whether you get cold pressed or hot pressed, found their way to my desk and they are more affordable than their perfect sketchbook too. And this made a difference. Less money, it doesn't matter as much if I ruin it. And thinner paper, in the case of the Etchr sketchbooks, made me feel like I was allowed to make mistakes because the paint might bleed through anyway, or the paper might buckle. Spoiler, it didn't. I put the more expensive sketchbooks aside for a while, and by then I had also got a very large and expensive Koval watercolour sketchbook, which literally felt and still feels like one of the most precious things ever, and it will probably take me years to fill. So purchasing less expensive sketchbooks and possibly even ones with thinner paper somehow relieves you from that pressure of performing because you are not painting in a luxury item. ARRTX carries sketchbooks at €14, probably more or less the same in US dollars, I would imagine, which is something we could only have dreamt of a few years ago, especially with 100% cotton paper. Starting as cheap as you can will do two things for you. It will automatically remove that fear and it will create that first rung in the ladder to working your way up to the more expensive sketchbooks you have probably already bought. I'm not sure that you have, but maybe. Because they are there to be used, not to be saved. So what about the beautiful flip-throughs of your own sketchbook that you had envisioned? You don't have to give up on that at all. This kind of ties in with an older video of mine here on YouTube, the 3 sketchbook formula. It's a good idea to have a very cheap, regular paper sketchbook for messy experimentations, a middle ground one like the ARRTX, Baohong, etc. for watercolor practice, and then a more luxury one, so to speak, for more finished work. See your sketchbooks as stepping stones and use them for different purposes. Use them as a path to guide you in your watercolor experience. Over on my Patreon, we have established a wonderful routine of meeting up live every Tuesday, simply to co-sketch in our regular sketchbooks, the messy ones. And in the art studio tier, we take it a step further and have monthly guided painting sessions in our watercolor sketchbooks. Though, to be honest, you can use individual sheets if you prefer. And it's a lovely way and the perfect excuse to fill in those sketchbooks. Doing it in company really does help. But if joining live sessions is not your thing, you can watch the replays and all the recordings that are already on there. There's quite a massive library of them by now. It's completely pressure-free and you can come and go as you please. It's beginner-friendly as well, so no worries there. You don't have to appear on camera, you don't have to talk, you can just watch and paint, or you can chat if you like a good chat. Some of us do. It would be nice to have you as part of our community, so if you'd like to have a peek, there's some free resources on there as well. I will leave the link to that in the description box below this video.
Summer, they'll be gone. The trees will bloom and ice will melt. We'll always remember how it felt.
And what about those expensive luxury sketchbooks we are afraid to paint in, that I'm still afraid to paint in, like the Koval or the Perfect Sketchbook by Etchr? To me, those are like storybooks, illustrated books, and I do want to have the experience of leafing through them as if I were looking through a fairy tale book. So that's what I keep them for. I keep them for when I have a lot of time on my hands. I use them for more polished and careful work, though still expressive and loose because that is my style. I keep them for special projects or for when I'm feeling more confident. And my dream one day is to turn one of them into an art book about watercolour and publish it. Yes, it really is a big dream of mine to scan all those pages and send them out into the world as if I were setting it all free. So there you have it. I've said it out loud. Of course, I'm not saying everyone should publish their sketchbook. Probably not all of you want to publish their sketchbook, but I am saying that if you're afraid to paint in those more expensive sketchbooks, use them for your special work, for times when you have had practice and you feel more confident, but don't abandon them.
A significant light, just where it was needed, gleaming black as night, cloistered in injustice.